Welcome to Soundscape Crusaders.
Music discovery podcast where we pair music with media.
Join co-hosts Nate and Levi on this journey
As we dive deep and examine one song an episode, discuss what we love about it,
and then pair it with something that emotionally and tonally coincides with the song. And here we are again. Nate.
Hey bud, what's up?
Just chilling, man. I'm excited for this week. This is our second week of Horror-tober. I still haven't come up with a good name for it. I have no idea.
You hear that, right?
What? Yeah, what is that?
What the fuck? Why is my phone going off? Go.
It's just like peaceful,
Bruh.
classical guitar.
It's kind of freaky.
That's not very scary.
No, that's well, it's just like one of those like things start working out of, or like, things start like acting up on their own kind of shit, and I'm like, time to move out. It's fitting for our horror month, our horror crusade, if you want to call it that.
You know what? It's fitting for the song that I have this week.
I'm curious.
We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this month we're covering any song that's influenced or inspired by horror of any kind. It can be classical horror books. It can be horror movies. It can be anything. Just as long as it has that hard edge of, ooh, something spooky's going on in the night. So Nate, last week we did Say the Name, and this week I'm bringing something a little different because that was like, it was horrorcore rap, right?
Yeah, it was an experimental hip hop trio named Clipping, and they released 2 records in 2019 and 2020, kind of exploring the whole more nuanced subgenre of hip hop known as horrorcore. So that's what we started off with.
Yeah, this week, I mean, I want to know what you're excited for about this week. What's something that you're like hoping for?
That's a really good question. I don't know if I'm like hoping for anything in particular. I just think you always come with a very interesting song choice or something that I don't really see coming. And it's always something, usually it's something I don't know. It's something I've never listened to before. So I'm hoping this is going to be one of those situations. If not, you've brought in songs that I know and we still gush over it. So either way, this will yield a good conversation. I'm super excited just for whatever you bring.
This is going to be interesting because for one, you do know the artist for sure.
Okay.
I don't know if you've listened to the album or the song, but you definitely know the artist.
Okay.
And how about we just jump right into it? How's that sound?
Let's do it.
Let's go for it.
Ready.
Okay. The song that I'm bringing today, it was released on this day 40 years ago. At the time of recording, it was released 40 years ago. Wait, that's the math, right? 82.
82? Yeah,
September 13th, 82 is the day that this was released. It is the 4th album from this artist, and I would say it's more of a departure from her typical oeuvre. She recently had a huge peak in popularity and a huge surge from her song on Stranger Things. Running Up That Hill. Is that the name of it?
It doesn't hurt me. Yeah, yeah. Do you wanna feel how it feels? Yeah, yeah. Do you wanna know that it doesn't hurt me? Yeah, yeah. Do you wanna hear about the deal they're making? You.
It's Running Up That Hill, in parentheses, A Deal with God, off of Hounds of Love.
Yeah. Which that is a fantastic song.
It's a great song, but
Overplayed.
it got overplayed, and that's so sad because it's such a great song.
I'm hoping it, I get a break from it for a while so I can. Because unfortunately, just the way things work now, we're kind of all controlled by the algorithm, right? So TikTok, people recognized that Running Up That Hill was a song that everybody liked, and people would repost whatever video they were doing and just put that song in it so it'd get more views. And so that song just became associated with literally everything from do-it-yourself home videos to prank videos to whatever else is on TikTok. And it's just everywhere now. But it's well deserved. I mean, it's a great song. I loved that song. I think I need a break from it. But this week, the song that I'm picking is a vast departure from that. Whereas that is more, I guess, not crowd pleasing isn't the right word, but it's more for general audiences. This song, which was the last song on her fourth album, Kate Bush's fourth album, called The Dreaming, which is in general, the album in general is much more avant-garde and progressive.
Very avant-garde. Yeah, this record is fucking wild.
But it's great. I wouldn't say I would listen to it on a Saturday morning, right? But if I'm in the mood for something, I would say it's kind of the album in general carries this spooky, mystical, but also fantastical tone to it, right? Like there's bouncy elements at the beginning of things, but then you have like her voice, which she uses as almost like a ghostly wail throughout some of the songs.
Yeah.
And
she's got a very powerful voice.
Yeah, she's wonderful. And it all comes to a climax with the final song, which is the song for this week, which is Get Out of My House. Have you listened to this? Are you familiar with it?
So I know this song. I don't, it's been a while since I've listened to it because back in like college, I did like a Kate Bush run through because everyone, Hounds of Love is great. So I went through like her whole discography essentially from the Big Kick all the way to, I think I stopped at like the Red Shoes, which came out in like 93, 95.
Yeah. She has quite a bit of album. The Red Shoes is just the middle.
Yeah,
her
that's
discography.
Why I stopped once she kind of made it to the 90s. Honestly, her best stuff is like Kick Inside, probably to about, let's say, the one before Red Shoes.
The Sensual World.
Okay, I couldn't remember the name of it. So what I remember of The Dreaming is it's kind of like, you've ever listened to prog rock like King Crimson and Yes and stuff like that. It's like very technically talented for a rock.
Yeah.
Everyone's just a fantastic instrumentalist. I think Kate Bush is like the perfect example of progressive pop because she loves to incorporate a lot of like strings and I guess like brass instruments and like orchestral arrangements, and she incorporates all this like kind of interesting sounds throughout her music. And I remember The Dreaming being very, like you said, it's not easy breezy listening.
Yeah,
it's something you gotta sit and digest. Is that the one with is it I Sat in Your Lap? Yeah. Is that on that record?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember liking that song a lot.
Yeah, I really liked that one.
Is Night of the Swallow on that
Pull
one?
Out the Pen is great. And then Night of the Swallow and All the Love.
So Night of the Swallow is on The Dreaming.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember liking
it's a solid, like, through and through.
I like the one before it, Never Forever. I think that one's really fucking good. But it also has Army Dreamers, and that's like a fucking phenomenal song. It's less than 3 minutes, and it's just fucking great.
Oh, okay.
So I've listened to this. I don't remember it because this is not a record I travel back to. Honestly, really, I travel back to the Never Forever and Hounds of Love and some of the Kick Inside.
Hounds of Love. Okay, since you're more familiar with her discography, I think I've listened to her in bits and pieces throughout, whatever I found or deemed to be, something I was into at the time. Would you say Hounds of Love sonically is consistent throughout, like as Running Up That Hill? Because I think that's the only song off that album I've heard.
Yes and no. It's probably her most commercially successful record. So it's a little easier on the ears. And like Running Up That Hill is great, but The Big Sky is great. Waking the Witch is great. I think this one called Hello Earth, I think, is really good too.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Kate Bush. She's kind of like so out there in a sense that like every song is so different.
Oh yeah.
But I think this is like her easiest listening project. I would definitely recommend it. It's a phenomenal record.
Well, that's why I was asking, because Running Up That Hill is definitely like a commercial song. Like anyone that hears it,
it's a great song.
Is like, oh, okay, like I can vibe with that. It's smooth. It's not super challenging.
Those rolling drums that.
Yeah, and it just is a relaxing song. It really is, and I love it for that. The dreaming, while being very progressive and just honestly stranger, you know, but it's consistently that way. Like all of the songs pair together perfectly. And if you told me that this was the same person, that like if you showed me one of these songs versus Running Up That Hill, I would probably almost think it's two completely different artists. Like if it was just a blind, like 5 years ago, you just threw two of these songs to me.
Yeah.
I would, but
she's great.
Yeah. She's a great artist.
What I think is so kind of powerful in what she does is her voice is almost like an instrument itself. The way she can like really toss her voice around, like that song Wuthering Heights, she hits these notes in the chorus that are so it's kind of like mind-blowing, and you can like look up people trying to cover that song, and it's a tough song to cover. It's a fucking great track too. Kate Bush is great, man. It's just like really all I got. I would definitely recommend Hounds of Love, though, man. That's a good record.
I mean, I would definitely, echo what you're saying, because I think that she uses her voice as an instrument throughout this whole track and album. So I sent the link. Let's go ahead and listen to it.
Fuck yeah.
And, if you hear something that you want to talk about, let me know.
The album cover is so weird for this record.
It's cool. It's cool. So I was reading about it, and the album is based off the story of Houdini and his wife, and she's enacting the role of Houdini's wife on this cover, where she has the key in her mouth and she's going to pass him the key as she kisses him. Which the second to last song is called Houdini. So,
all right, I'm ready.
I want to pull you away, so I run into the home, into the corridor. There's a door in the house. I hear the lift descending. I hear it hit the landing. See the house and the cat standing with my key eye, with my key eye, with my key eye, with my key eye.
all right. So that was "Get Out of My House" by Kate Bush.
It's a good song.
The reason I picked this is because the song, she has cited Stephen King's The Shining as well as Ridley Scott's Alien as influences.
I mean, I can totally see that, because one of the big themes that come from both of those properties, whether you're looking at Alien, obviously is a movie, but whether you're looking at the movie The Shining or the book, isolation. Isolation is a huge theme throughout those properties, and this song is all about isolation. Feels like.
Yeah. I mean, it invokes the feeling of someone going crazy and
but like you're by yourself and you don't let anyone in. It's our animalistic nature. We're social animals, right? We want people in, but she's fighting that nature inside of her.
To me, it sounds like people are trying to reach out to her and she is forcing herself into that isolation. It's not that she has no one, it's that she wants that. And she's angry and she's upset even, and she's forcing herself to, crawl up into a hovel basically. And she doesn't want, and everyone's been there where you're like so pissed off you just don't want to.
I mean, that's a really interesting point because she's mimicking a mule with that hee-haw at the end of the outro. And what are mules symbol for? Stubbornness.
Stubborn, yeah.
Yep.
Being stubborn.
So maybe she's being stubborn.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is a cool ass song, man. Maybe I need to go back and re-listen to The Dreaming because I kind of really enjoy that sound because I think it's more sonically challenging than, and I still think Hounds of Love's probably her best work.
Yeah,
but that is more sonically challenging than anything.
Now is definitely a good time to revisit this album, especially since Halloween is coming up on us.
Ooh.
This is the album as a whole, as I said before, it has those fantastical and whimsical elements kind of layered throughout, but overall it's kind of a spooky album. And culminating with this song, which is absolutely, by the end when they're making those mule noises, you're like, ooh, like something is off kilter about this.
It'll make your skin crawl. It's creepy.
And what is more scary than something that's just slightly like something's wrong? You might not be able to pinpoint it, but think about the Titans and Attack on Titan. Like those things scare me probably more than a lot of monsters do because they're like
so human.
Well, but also not. Like they have these strange smiling faces, and there's like a divide between what is intelligent and not. And it's the same thing with like anything where there's a horror movie and like the villain or the monster has like a rictus grin.
Yeah.
Is terrifying to me. It freaks me out. I don't like it.
Not a fan of smiling, huh?
Yeah, not like that. Even that that movie that I don't think it was reviewed very well. Was it Truth or Dare? It came out a couple years ago, and like they become possessed or something, and they get this big stupid like CGI smile on them. It still freaks me out. Like everybody was talking about how dumb it looked. I was like, no, that is scary, man.
Have you ever seen the music video to Black Hole Sun by Super Unknown? They have a lot of those like distorted smiles at parts.
No. See, now you're not going to be able to convince me to watch it. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I'll duly. There's a movie coming out called Smile. Is that what you're thinking of? There's a horror movie coming out shortly called Smile.
No, this was a few years ago. Movies.
You don't want to see Smile?
I don't know what Smile is. But
the poster's kind of creepy. It honestly looks kind of shitty. So the trailer doesn't look that good. Another thing this song reminded me of is there's a song by a band called Suicide who the lead frontman was named Alan Vega, who I think passed away a few years ago or a little while ago. But there's a song called Frankie Teardrop where it's a story about a guy who murders his girlfriend and goes to hell. It's like a 10-minute song. I thought about bringing this song on for one of our weeks, but this song by Kate Bush reminded me of it. But there's a part in the song where it's just like It's just like droning guitar, bass, drum mix, and he just starts screaming like randomly. He's just like wah, and it's the only time I've ever listened to a song. I've only listened to that song once, and
Yeah.
I'm never going to listen to it again because it legitimately scared me.
Yeah.
But like these emotions, those emotions of like just kind of fear and terror kind of came out in this song because you can feel like she is slowly spiraling away, and that scares me,
Yeah.
that like possession, losing herself kind of idea.
Yep. Well, and losing a sense of humanity in a way because she
Yeah.
starts to mimic that mule, and
It's creepy.
it's like, okay, like I was not expecting this, and like I was expecting running up that hill, making a deal with God,
I'm
not
expecting happiness.
oh. And it's not even like it's not like a conventionally pretty noise. It's quite
Have you ever heard of
terrible,
donkey
honestly.
bray? It's fucking awful.
Yeah, and
Insert donkey braying noise.
you're not gonna get that from like giant pop stars very often. Is when like,
No.
can you imagine Katy Perry making a song and just like braying?
In Kate Bush's defense, though, and you can cut this out because this might be like a really abrasive comment. That is more interesting than any other pop star putting out anything out today because
no,
they're
I agree.
challenging themselves and challenging the status quo on what it is.
I absolutely agree with that.
You're right. If Katy Perry or like Kesha or like a Taylor Swift made this thing, I'd be like, get them in the mental side. Like they need help. Like it just doesn't seem like, not that they're smart enough to do that. That sounds bad. It just doesn't seem like challenging. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's the closest thing I can equate it to is the effect that an album like Lemonade had on me, where I had a certain idea of who Beyonce was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard Lemonade, and that is just a sonically diverse album.
You like that record?
Yeah, I do a lot. I really do. I don't know your thoughts on it, but
I love it. I think it's fantastic. I'm not a huge Beyonce fan, but I think it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal record.
Yeah, and
I will say this though, hot take. Her sister also released a record that year in 2016 called "A Seat at the Table," and I think it is way better than Lemonade. And Lemonade's great. I love Lemonade.
Interesting. I'll have to check that out. I didn't know.
"Seat at the Table" by Solange is really fucking good.
Okay. I mean,
that's not against Lemonade. That's not. I'm not trying to like shit on Lemonade because I really like Lemonade.
Yeah,
I think Lemonade's
and you don't want Beyonce people mad at you.
I want the beehive coming at my ass.
I just found that album so impressive because the typical pop sound isn't something that I typically gravitate to.
Right.
And then you have Lemonade where they have blues influences. They have, New Orleans like saxophones and trombones.
There's
and
jazz. There's a little bit of jazz thrown in there too. Yeah. Freedom. That song Freedom is so good.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar. Like that's a power anthem and it's so fucking good.
Yeah. And then you have like Jack White coming in and you have
Don't Hurt Yourself. That's a great song too.
Just it's a good album to where it's like, oh wow, they're capable of so much. And like bringing it back to Dreaming is another album where once I listened to it, I was like, wow, she is capable of so much and she employs everything. It might not be for everyone at all. And I would say this is less accessible than Lemonade.
Right.
But I think it's incredible still. Will I like easy listen to it every morning? No, it's probably not a morning song to me. I think if you're wanting this album is for people like Kate Bush, I feel like.
Hey man, I'm all for people testing pushing the envelope and testing, what their limits are. And this thing is fucking rips, bro.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's legitimate scary, and I love it. I love that a song can make you feel that way. So
Would you say that Kate Bush is
attractive, yes.
well, yeah. Would you say that she's, I don't know, like she doesn't look goth, but she has a lot of things about her that like she's that girl that was probably obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe, or like stuff like that. Like I feel like she's like a proto goth.
Let's see. What is Kate Bush?
Not in terms of
She's
what she looks like,
oh.
but in terms of her influences.
I feel like this is a really I feel like she also likes Baroque and like Beethoven and stuff like that. I feel like she gets her influences everywhere. She is like
Yeah.
all encompassing, all absorbing.
It
what
might
she
not be
can.
fair to lump her into one category
because there's rock influences, there's progressive influences, there's pop influences, and it's just an amalgamation of so many interesting sounds. What I think is so great, we talked about this, during the track, is she's using her voice. And if you're not paying attention super hard, like her voice is almost like an instrument. It's almost mimicking an instrument.
Yeah.
Stranger's feet will enter me. I watch the flames.
Which is just absolutely brilliant in and of itself.
Yeah, and you have that, which can be spooky at times, and it's contrasted with this guitar that has a lot of reverb, and it's
so
more
good.
calming. Who did I say it sounded like? I'm blanking on the name right now. The Smiths.
Yeah, Johnny Marr. You said it sounded like Johnny Marr's guitar.
Yeah, and or even who's the front man? What's his name?
Morrissey.
Morrissey, like even some of Morrissey's solo stuff has that guitar sound.
Yeah.
And so when it starts
that's
with
a
just
great sound.
yeah, and it starts with just that, and you're expecting something, and you're just like, oh, okay, Kate Bush is going to come in and sing some soothing vocals.
You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she comes off the gate instead, like,
I love it. This is great. This is a great song, dude. I'm gonna sleep tonight.
Is there anything else about the tone that you want to talk about?
It's very anxiety inducing and kind of mimics. And I know we've listened to songs that have like emulated anxiety and panic attacks and stuff, but I also think that really boils over well here, to the point where the person like loses themselves within the attack, whatever their moment. Yeah, man, this is great. This song is great. I'm sober, I promise. It's a really good song.
Let's just jump into the lyrics then. We kind of covered what the song's about. The chorus is Kate Bush saying, "Get out of my house. No stranger's feet will enter me. Get out of my house. I wash the pains. Get out of my house. I clean the stains away. Get out of my house." And when she says "get out of my house," it's like screaming, and it's not like a pretty scream. It's like, it sounds like she's scared and she's fearful.
Yeah.
And that emotion really carries through, and it unnerves you, in my opinion.
This, to me, I definitely think there's, I think one of the readings for sure of the lyrics is that it's her, I guess, going crazy, if you want to call it that, if that's politically correct. But I think it's an interesting angle if you look at it as she's trapped in like a haunted house, something like that.
Yeah.
And she's trying to people are trying to be like, hey, trying to get her. And she's like, get out, because the house, like in The Shining, the house is taking over her.
Yeah. And
the house wants her and only her, kind of thing. And
that influence definitely shines through, because she's not scared of the house. Oh, yeah. She's not afraid of the house, though. In a lot of haunted house movies, everyone's afraid of the house and they're trying to get out. she's wanting to stay there in the same way that Jack wants to stay in the house.
I know.
He doesn't want anyone else to leave. And so, like, I mean, that alone makes it difficult to pick something because it's like, oh, that's so tied with that story.
I know. And we've already used The Shining on an episode.
Yeah, we did. So that's off the table.
I think I'm gonna still stick with my pick. I don't think lyrically it lines up super well, like in that form. But I think I'm gonna keep with my pick. I think I can defend it pretty well. So
that sounds good. I mean, I don't think my pick will be 100% lined up either, but it'll be tonally there, I think.
That's so funny. Both songs we've started off in this horror month are very much tied to a property.
Yeah. Because Say the Name was tied to
Candyman.
Yeah. So
I don't think my second pick isn't. I'm still keeping with my second pick. So
interesting.
What do you think? Anything from the lyrics stick out to you?
No, I really like the where is it? The bridge near the end. Paul Hardiman and Kate Bush.
It's like the house is singing to her, or her her demons, her inner thoughts are singing to her.
Yeah, kind of thing. Like Paul Hardiman says, "Let me in, woman, let me in, let me bring in the memories, woman, let me in, let me bring in the devil dreams." And she says, "I will not let you in. Don't you bring back the reveries. I turn into a bird, carry further than the word is heard." And
I don't like that.
I mean, it's just kind of spooky, and even the tone of, the conflicting tones of Paul and Kate as they sing to each other.
It's creepy.
It really feels like one is trying to seduce the other, and it's very interesting to me. So yeah.
You want it? I'm gonna throw a takeout. I think Bjork is the modern day equivalent to Kate Bush.
Yeah, I mean, Bjork. I actually just saw a thing. Bjork have cited The Dreaming as one of their favorite albums.
Shocking.
Yeah,
that's not shocking. I love Bjork. Bjork is so good.
So the influence is there.
Yeah.
So if you like Bjork, if you like Bjork, you're gonna like The Dreaming.
Bro, you don't have to include this in the episode. I saw Bjork live in 2013, and dude, she came out with this like crystal headdress and like was like dressed in this crystal dress. Dude, it was the weirdest. And there was signs everywhere saying like, "Do not record the shit. I'm Bjork, don't record the show," or however the fuck she sounds. However Icelandic people sound. Right. Good show though. She's fucking amazing. Bjork is the fucking shit, dude. I'm excited for her new record. But yeah, I think Bjork is probably the closest thing to Kate Bush that we have within like the 2000s, 2010s. Even though Bjork did start in like the 90s. So
I mean, I would say
Bjork.
That's a pretty accurate assumption or assessment. It's an accurate assessment.
Thanks, brother. So I really love the idea of a haunted house and Kate. I was about to say Bjork. No, it's not about to say Bjork. I don't know. I'm tired. But I like the idea of Kate Bush or this character being stuck in a haunted house, and the house is like, or the house or whatever, this spirit is like contacting or is like in close proximity, close contact with the narrator, Kate Bush. And I'm going to tie it to one of my favorite haunted house ghost thrillers that came out in 2013. And it was directed by James Wan and stars Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as Ed and Lorraine Warren. The movie I'm choosing is The Conjuring. Do you like The Conjuring?
I haven't seen it.
What?
I haven't seen it. No, I haven't. I'm getting really tired of hearing these episodes where I'm like, I haven't seen it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you want me to pick a different one?
No, go for it.
All right, I'm going to pull up the trailer. It's probably going to be scary because this movie's really fucking scary at points. Like, this movie, gives me trouble. Like, it makes me it's one of those, like, I have to sleep with the lights on if I watch it. So I don't watch it often. I haven't
watched it. I've heard it's very scary.
This one is really fucking scary. Oh man, like Annabelle, you know, the doll, the creepy little doll or whatever. Annabelle's in this, but she's like only in for like a part of it.
Like, was this before or after the Annabelle movies?
It's before. This was the first of like The Conjuring.
So that's what like started the whole.
This spearheaded the whole thing.
Get out of here.
That's not gonna help.
This thing has latched itself to your family.
Father, we never seen nothing like this.
I'm coming with you.
No way. I can't lose you.
There's a lady in a dirty nightgown that I see in my dreams. She's standing in front of my mom's bed. Do you want to see him?
Yeah.
When the music stops, you see him in the mirror standing behind you. Look what she made me do.
No.
I forgot how scary that movie is.
I'm happy for you. I'm not watching it. Sorry.
That's fine.
Sorry,
no,
sorry.
I've seen it. I've seen this movie, I think 3 or 4 times. And every time I slept with the light on.
I have an overactive imagination. I can't handle that. I'm a wuss. I don't care.
It's so fucking scary. Okay, so for those who haven't seen The Conjuring, this is the start of all that Annabelle nun bullshit, which I've only seen Conjurings 1 and 2, and I think that's really where I'm just going to cap it off. It stars Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were, I think they've both passed, but they were paranormal investigators. Their real life reports were based. You ever heard of the Amityville Horror?
Yeah.
Their reports were based off of that, or that movie was based off of reports. Yes.
Yeah.
It's Ron Livingston and his wife. What is it? I'm just going to pull up the Wikipedia page because I have not seen this movie in a little while, and after watching that trailer again, I don't think I really want to see it again in a little while. I might watch it over Halloween just to like really scare the shit out of myself. But dude, I'll sleep with the lights on in the house. I have yet to watch it since moving out, and I don't think I ever will. I need someone that lives with me before I watch that again. If you can't tell,
I don't even know if I can do that, man.
Dude, it's
too much.
So the movie starts off with Ron Livingston, who plays Roger Perrin, and he's his wife and 5 kids. They move into this farmhouse in Rhode Island, and their dog doesn't want to go in this fucking house. So it's like, oh fuck, shit's already not good. And then the next morning, in the trailer, remember when the clocks stop ticking?
Yeah.
That's like one of the first things that happens in the movie. And then the bruises, I think it's the mom has bruises on her arm, and the dog is found dead the next morning. And they go to this, I want to say it's like a college seminar with Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are talking about them finding Annabelle, which is this doll. And basically, long story short, they realize this house is haunted by this witch named Bethesda. Is that Bathsheba? Bathsheba? I don't know.
Bathsheba?
Yeah, Bathsheba, who
like
sacrificed. What's up?
Biblical character?
I am not a biblical expert, brother. All I know is it's supposedly a relative of Mary Easty, who was one of the women sacrificed during the Salem witch trials.
Okay.
But this lady sacrifices her baby to the devil, and basically anyone who lives in that house is either murdered or, goes missing, blah, 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 blah. So the house is all fucked up. And basically, Ed and Lorraine Warren try to exorcise this spirit, and shit hits the fan, and it's fucking creepy and really unnerving. And crazy enough, it's not a lot of jump scares like the trailer leads on. It's a lot of like slow burn horror. It's really creepy. And Get Out of My House, to me, just that title alone is like what I would be screaming if I was in that fucking house. And that song, I don't think the song Get Out of My House by Kate Bush like scared me, but it elicited that kind of like slight response. And I think this song or this movie emulates that fear, not so much the isolation, but that fear, and dive into madness very well with this creepy spirit that haunts this poor family. There's an exorcism scene in it, and it's fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah,
I think you'll watch it, and you know what? I don't mind if you don't watch it because it is kind of scary, and I don't know, man. It's one of those.
I've heard that it's fantastic by a lot of people that love horror, and that trailer is enough to tell me that, yeah, it probably is good, and I'm never gonna find out if it is because I just can't like that. That kind of shit where like, you have someone and they're looking and then like there's something behind them and you see it, but they don't. That's
The cool thing about that scene is he turns around and it's gone. Patrick Wilson turns around and that hanging body is gone.
Yeah, that freaks me out. Like, I don't like that because then it's like, oh, I don't know if that shit's happening to me. And
but there's a lot of good actors in here. Vera Farmiga's great. Patrick Wilson's great. Lily Taylor from Say Anything is in it. She was, which character was she? She was Corey Flood, which I think is one of it's one of John Cusack's like friends.
Yeah, I recognize her. Yeah, he's one of his
She's
friends.
great. Ron Livingston from Office Space is great. Joey King's in it, who's kind of like really rose to. I know she was just in Bullet Train. Was she just in Bullet Train? Is that right? Mackenzie Foy's in it. Like, there's some like pretty good names in this movie, and I mean, it's
I remember it being huge when
it's a very well made horror movie, and it's really good at scaring the shit out of you. And yeah, so if you're gonna get scared, I wouldn't watch it.
Yeah, and I will.
It's probably my favorite thing James Wan has done.
I mean, I can't blame you because
Insidious 1's pretty good though. I see, like, I watch horror movies, but then like some really fuck me up, like really bad.
Yeah, and that's
like Conjuring.
That's why I don't watch too many because it messes me up.
Yeah,
but I mean, it sounds good. It sounds like a good pick. I mean, it's a haunted house movie, and it sounds scary. So
the ghost, Bathsheba. I don't know. Fucking. Oh, it is a Bible thing. I did not.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard that name from. It's It's who King David like kills her husband in battle, or sends her husband to battle to die on the front lines, and then marries her because he wants her. Pretty messed up.
So is she like a evil character in the
Bible?
Yeah,
not necessarily. She's a lady that he like sees her bathing or something on a rooftop or something. He like peeps on her, and then she's married already, so he's the king, and he's like, oh, your husband is like my greatest warrior, but I'm gonna send him on the front lines to die,
right? So I can fuck you.
Yeah.
What a not nice man.
Yeah, not his.
No, the witch in The Conjuring, she's mean, she's very evil and very gross looking. So
interesting.
Because
I mean, it looks, if was that her, like with the eye and the face?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
and so they do an exorcism on because the wife's being possessed by this witch. I don't think you're gonna see the movie, so I'm just gonna spoil it. And she like starts like floating in her chair and shit. Exorcisms freak me out. I'm not even a
Yeah.
religious person, but exorcisms, like that whole concept freaks me out. Like I still think Exorcist and The Omen are like the scariest movies I've ever seen.
See, that's what I don't fuck with. That's what freaks me out is like
Yeah,
demon
like
shit.
the chair starts floating and like she's
Yeah.
like freaking the fuck out and she like tears the like so because it's like the mom and like you see the mom throughout the movie, but like the sheet because there's like a sheet over her like tears open and you see like her she's like bleeding from her mouth. It's so fucking gnarly, dude. I'm not selling this movie to you.
No. I mean, as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, nah, pass.
I'm out.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Good
Nate, I'm
pick,
out.
I guess. Yeah, I've seen enough. Okay. Well, should we move on, or do you have anything else you'd like to say about The Conjuring?
I like it. I think The Conjuring's very good and it's very scary. And if you're looking for a good time, it's fun. It's a fun movie, and if you can come out of that unscathed, more power to you. I don't.
I'm gonna take a little bit of a turn and talk
My
about
choice.
something that is more accessible for those who are timid in the ways of scary things. But
Am I 2 for 2 on horror movies for this? Yeah, my last one was a horror movie.
Rosemary's Baby. I mean, look,
Or is that
this
more of
whole
a
month, this whole month,
Mhm.
we're gonna probably be picking some kind of horror movie or another.
Yeah, Terminator has
Um,
like horror elements. That's a slasher
yeah.
villain.
Yeah, so Terminator is my kind of horror movie. Okay, but so when we were listening to this song, I thought of a lot of things, and I want to throw a shout out because like something that came to mind that I didn't pick is the
Was it-
episode called Pygmalion from King of the Hill. And that is an episode where Luann meets a rich dude who owns like a pig packing company, and he
I
becomes
remember that
obsessed
one,
with
yeah.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, that would kind of fit because like he thinks he's a pig, and like
Right, he wants
does
to
a
like
lot of
her to
weird.
become a pig, right, or whatever. He's like
It's-
drawing her up, and no, he's
Yeah,
drawing her
and
up as the mascot.
Yeah, he wants her to marry
Right.
someone else,
So
so
that
he
is a
can be
weird
the pig.
episode.
Yeah, and it's kind of freaky in like a funny way.
Mama, Papa, I'm coming home. Oh my God. I can suddenly think clearly. The voices have left my head. What am I doing in a pig costume? Uh-oh.
At least Trip seemed happy. And now he's in a better place.
Honey, Trip had a mental breakdown and is now a sausage. That's not a better place. But you handled the situation very well.
But I didn't pick that just because the rest of the song didn't really fit.
That would have been a good choice.
But the song, you know, there's a lot of "Get Out of My House" and there's a lot of "Let Me In," right? And "Let Me In" is usually a thing that you associate with vampires, and so that's kind of where my mind went.
Okay.
And then you have that bridge at the end where Kate Bush and Paul Hardiman are kind of like having this back and forth, you know, he's saying, let me in, woman, let me in. And she's like, I will not let you in. And that reminded me of a movie that I like a lot. And it was made in 1985. It's a vampire flick, vampire horror comedy directed by Tom Holland. This is called Fright Night.
Great movie. David Sarandon is so fucking good in that movie. That's a good ass movie, bro. This is a good ass movie. Yo,
I love me some Fright Night,
dude. David Sarandon's he's fucking attractive. It's a great ass movie.
Christopher Sarandon.
Is it Chris Sarandon? Who is David?
Yeah.
Whatever. Chris Sarandon. He's fucking great in this. He's also in Princess Bride. And I love him in Princess Bride.
Yes. Yeah. He is. I didn't even
he's
think
Humperdinck, right?
Yeah. He's wow. He's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's Jack Skellington, bro. Chris Sarandon's the fucking shit. David Sarandon.
He's in Child's Play too. He's
the detective. Was it Detective Norris? I think is his name.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, let's watch this trailer.
What would you do if you accidentally discovered the house next door was occupied by something not human? Something horrifying. Something unspeakably evil. No one believes you.
Mom, I didn't have a nightmare.
Not your mom.
They did kill a girl over there.
Not your girlfriend.
Charlie, is this some sort of a trick to get me back?
Not even the police.
Look, I know it's crazy. I know that, but look, Lieutenant!
It knows that you know. You'll do anything to protect yourself, but it will do anything to protect its secret.
Dude, the fucking vampire effects are fucking great in this movie.
Yeah.
Dude, fucking great choice. Oh my god. Great movie.
Yeah. Dude. So the reason I picked this was
Jerry Dandridge is such like a great vampire. Sorry. I really like this movie, dude.
I do too. And it's just great. I watched it a couple years ago for the first time. And it was just, yeah. I didn't grow up with this or anything. It was,
oh my god, dude, we're gonna talk. All right, keep going.
Yeah. But the reason I picked it was just because, like I said, the bridge kind of sounds like a vampire talking to someone trying to get in their house. And at a certain point in the movie, I believe like he's trying to get into the neighbor kid's house because he knows that the kid saw him like doing vampire shit.
Yeah.
And, and it has a lot of that and then the kid's like trying to sneak into his house and like, there's a lot of get out of my house type shit. It's kind of like on a very simplistic level.
You have to invite the vampire in.
Right. Right. And then you have like just the screaming and the horror elements. And I was like, yeah, it kind of fits this movie.
This movie has some intense moments too.
I think it's a great mix of comedy and intensity.
I agree.
I could see a lot of people watching it that, those people that watch horror movies and every time they watch a horror movie, they're like, oh, it wasn't even scary. It was stupid. I didn't get scared at all. And it's like, they probably wouldn't like it because you're not going to leave.
It's not conventionally scary.
Yeah. But what it does have is like some great aesthetic and like horror aesthetic and
honestly, Chris Sarandon as Jerry Dandridge is menacing, charming, elusive. He's so fucking good in this movie.
Great vampire.
It's top five vampires. Maybe top 3 for me at least.
He's charming.
He's so good. This is one of those movies I played a lot on TV all the fucking time.
At one point, doesn't he try to seduce like his mom or something?
Yeah, he tries to go after. Was it Charlie Brewster? Charlie Barker?
I don't even know.
Dude, I should know this. I love this movie.
Charlie Brewster. Yeah.
Okay. Because I want to say he gets his friend Ed. I think Evil Ed. I think is his name. He converts him to a vampire. But I think I think Jerry goes after Charlie's mom.
Yeah.
But I want to say. So continue.
It's fine. You get the point.
I love this movie.
So basically, this movie is like Rear Window meets vampires, kind of. So the basic plot is that there's this kid who's a big fan of this horror television show called Fright Night, right? Mm-hmm. Which is hosted by a former quote unquote vampire hunter,
Peter Vincent.
And then, one evening, the kid, Charlie, discovers that the new neighbor next door is a vampire. He like sees him do something, and so he's trying to convince people like, look, this dude's bad news. And he like tries to find the vampire hunter of the show, which I think ends up not even like, he's like, dude, that was like all an act or something. I can't remember, but
sorry, this is a really good movie.
You good?
I love this movie. No, I love this movie. I have a point. I want to bring up something that I think is so great about this fucking movie. So within like the concept of like, or one of the big things with vampires is you have to invite them in order of like, because they'll be like, they'll knock on your door or whatever and let me in, which but I think is so fucking cool about this movie. In the beginning of the movie, Jerry gets in his house. In Charlie's house. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Charlie's mom invites him in because he knows that Charlie saw this, and he threatens Charlie. He's like, hey, I'll let you get off scot-free, but if you start running your mouth, I'm going to get you. And he's like, nah, fuck that. Goes after him with the crucifix and shit. I think that scene is so brilliant because, I mean, when you go into this movie, you're like, oh, it's a vampire movie, yada, yada, yada. Knowing that happens so quickly into the movie kind of subverts your expectations of this whole movie. I think it's just, I think that scene, it happens so early, but that's my favorite scene of the movie because it flips the script. I think it's so well done.
Yeah. And the vampire isn't like out to like outright kill him. Isn't his whole thing is that he goes on dates with women and lures them back to his house and
pretty much,
suck their blood.
Because he goes to like a nightclub at one point. And
so he's like secretly feeding on people, and Charlie sees him and is just obsessed with like catching this guy. And like everybody's like, dude, you need to like chill out. You're going a little crazy kind of thing.
Your neighbor's fine.
Yeah, like you've been watching too much of this show. Like, how about you go to what is it? Like his girlfriend like wants him to go to prom or something. I can't. There's some kind of
I know she gets
kind of
turned.
tension between her and him.
I know if I remember correctly, she gets turned. She survives because they get rid of Dandridge at the end, and everyone reverts back to normal. Also, I love, how like in most vampire flicks, like the vampire's fangs or whatever aren't really prominent unless they open their mouth. In this, they're just like, ah!
Yeah.
They got the like, big wide grin.
And that goes back to the smile thing. That's why I find it so freaky, but in a good way.
That shit's creepy.
It's scary. I think this movie, like, this is a movie that you watch on Halloween night with a couple beers. You might still have a lamp on or something because you're like going and giving treats to the kids, you know. But then you come back to the couch and you're just chilling, watching.
This is
Fright
it's
Night.
such a fun movie.
Yeah, drinking some cider and rum or something like that.
Yeah, just hanging out. This is a fun movie to like watch with like a couple buddies. Yeah, like you said, have a couple beers, order a pizza. It's a fun movie.
It's a perfect pizza night.
It is, dude.
Movie.
I really love, and this is like this also like is in the Lost Boys as well.
Yeah.
I love when movies are self-aware like that, and they're like, "That's a vampire." Like it's not like, "Oh, what is this creature? Oh my gosh!" They're like, "Nah, fuck that. That's a vampire. Like, fuck off." Like
Nothing
I love that
drives me
self-aware.
crazier than zombie movies who refuse to admit that there are zombies. Just call them zombies.
Self-awareness is better.
Yeah,
than
don't
be
like, oh, the day walkers or the night walkers or the runners, or like just call them zombies.
They're zombies, brother.
But yeah, I love this movie. I highly recommend it. It has some fun effects. Some people might find them cheesy, but it's still fun. Even if you find it cheesy, it's still fun. I love that tangible like effect that they employ. But
no, that scene where they take on Dandridge in his house near the end is fucking great.
It's so fun.
It is. It's there's moments where you're like, oh goodness, like you get a little nervous, you get a little scared, and but it's not overtly to the point where like everything has to be scary. It's like
right.
It's
a
not
fun
like
scary.
The Conjuring, yeah, where The Conjuring's like, we're gonna scare the fucking shit out of you. Like,
you still can sleep after this movie.
Yes, Conjuring, you might have issues.
I do want to call out Fright Night has one of the most iconic posters of all time. It's instantly recognizable. There's a house, and then there's like a cloud with like a vampire face in it.
It's supposed to be his girlfriend, right? Isn't it Amy's face?
So.
Okay.
Yeah, and then just even the text of the title, Fright Night, the F and the T are elongated to look like fangs. Mm-hmm. I just love that poster so much. It's been parodied over and over and over again. If you Google Fright Night one sheet, Fright Night theatrical poster, you'll instantly recognize it. And I wanted to call that out. There's a movie that was heavily inspired by this in a way, I would say, which is Summer of '84, which is by the people that did Turbo Kid. And it kind of follows the same beats as Fright Night in a way, but it doesn't deal with vampires. It deals with other things. But if you like Fright Night, you should check out Summer of '84. It's a fun little movie.
Cool.
So,
did you ever see the remake? Came out in 2011?
No, I'm not a big fan of it's the same with like the Evil Dead remake. I'm like, you took the movie and like didn't in Fright Night remake they like took the comedy out, right? Like they just made it like more of a hard edge, like scary movie, right?
Mm-mm. No.
Oh, they didn't?
No,
oh, okay.
It's actually pretty solid.
Okay,
it's
I might check that out then.
It's more gruesome than the original, but they maintain a lot of comedy beats to it. It's not like the Evil Dead remake. That Evil Dead remake is brutal, and I didn't finish it because it was just so gross. And I was like, it made my stomach feel queasy, and I was like, oh, God.
Well, that's why I never checked out either of them, because I knew the Evil Dead one was like, oh, we're doing the Evil Dead, but
she splits her tongue on it. She splits her tongue on a switchblade at one point, and it's so fucking gross. And I'm like, this is stupid. I'm out. Like, I don't get it. Whatever.
It's like when you take the Sam Raimi out of the movie, then it's just any other movie, and it's not.
No, cool. I mean, if you come out of it and be like, yeah, I didn't really like, I don't like it as much as the original. I agree. I would be fine with that. But I think it is actually one of the more solid remakes. It's not like a Total Recall remake or, it felt like there's some soul to it. And I think Colin Farrell does a really good job. As Jerry, I think he does a really good job. He's just as suave and kind of funny as Chris Sarandon is. So
who else is okay?
Anton Yelkin, Toni Collette.
I mean, that's pretty.
It's a pretty good cast.
I love Anton Yelkin.
David Tennant, I think, is in it. Wow. David Tennant plays Victor, or what is his name? Peter Vincent.
Imogen Poots.
Who?
Imogen Poots.
It's a funny last name. Sorry.
Kind of a funny name in general, but yeah. No, that okay. I might check that out then, because that seems kind of
pretty
fun.
Decent. It's pretty good. It's basically they took the '85 version and made it more modern.
Okay, I'd be willing to give that a shot. I'd give. If
you don't like it, I understand. I think it's pretty solid. I think they did a good job. Okay. I do like the original, though. If you gave me the option, pick the original or watch the remake, I'm going to take the original every time.
The original just has that look.
It does.
Apparently, in 2020, Tom Holland confirmed that he was writing a direct sequel to Fright Night.
I thought there already was a sequel.
Well, the original sequel was not done by the original director.
Oh, well, I never saw part 2.
I never did either, but the original director in 2020 said that he was writing a direct sequel.
Whether Tom Holland, not Spider-Man. Tom Holland, right?
Yeah. Director Tom Holland.
Okay.
He
also did Child's Play, right? Is that right? Did he do the original Child's Play?
He did Fright Night. He did The Langoliers.
Oh, that's a Stephen King
and Thinner.
That's also a Stephen King novel.
Yeah, so he's done some. Oh, Child's Play. He did something with Child's Play.
I think he did the first
Child's Play.
I like that first one. I think that first one's actually pretty good. I think, what were you going to say?
He wrote Psycho 2.
Isn't that the one with Mila Kunis? No, that's American Psycho 2.
Yeah, I don't recognize anyone in this.
Dude, I will say freaking Brad Dourif as Chucky in the original Child's Play is unhinged as fuck, and he's amazing in it.
I need to watch that one. That seems like something I would dig.
Dude, like Chucky is like as a kid, you're like, oh my god, it's a doll that like moves and shit. That's terrifying. He's fucking hysterical. Chucky is fucking hysterical.
Right. That's why I feel like that would be in my bag, you know.
Yeah, dude, Don Mancini did the freaking screenplay. Like, he's done all the Child's Plays, and they're all fucking bonkers.
Right.
They're so fucking good. I would recommend. I would recommend Child's Play. I think Child's Play is fun.
So Fright Night and The Conjuring, maybe you start out with The Conjuring and then you end with Fright Night so that you can sleep a little better.
Yeah. They both end on happy notes. Like, I mean, Conjuring ends on a good note.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they exorcise the demon or bath whatever, and they like grab the cursed music box, which was the last scene. You know, where she like looks back, looks forward, looks back.
Yeah.
That cursed music box is like the bad entity or like the haunted artifact or whatever in that movie, and they like put it in their like museum of like really fucking scary shit, and movie's over, you know. So they stop.
But you still have to sleep with the light on.
Yes, very
so
much.
Maybe give yourself some distance with Fright Night. Let yourself forget about the scary things in the Conjuring.
Fright Night would go second. Fright Night would definitely go second.
Cool.
Because like basically it's like scary. We're done.
Yeah.
But good. Everything's fine now, but everything's scary.
I like that pairing. Pretty much sums up week 2 of our exploration into the world of horror.
Our crusade into Horrorville.
Horror month. Eventually we'll come up with something cool, but probably not this month.
Maybe next time, fellas.
Maybe next time. And then next week, we got 2 more weeks of horror month. So we got a song from you next week. And then the week after that, we're closing out horror month. And then we'll be going into November. So we're only halfway through, man. We've got a lot more to share. Is there anything you want to say to close this episode out?
Go watch Fright Night. It's a fucking classic.
Yeah.
It's probably... I'm not a huge vampire fan. Maybe I am. I don't know. It's probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite vampire movie. It's so good.
It is. Yeah, it's up there for me. It's definitely in the, I'd probably say top 3. I really like Fright Night. I like The Lost Boys. And
Lost
I like
Boys is good.
Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Coppola film.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. Is that the one with Gary Oldman as Dracula?
Gary Oldman and Keanu and Winona Ryder.
I never saw that.
You should check it out. It's fun.
It's pretty good.
I think it's a fun one. It's long, I think. But
is it long?
And like Keanu has a weird accent, but you don't care because it's just the atmosphere of the movie is like really cool. So
when did it come out?
91, 92, something like that.
92. Oh, Anthony Hopkins is Van Helsing?
Yeah,
it
has a solid cast. And I think it's aged well for the most part. So
I do like I know this is like it's a silent film, but I think Nosferatu is really fucking cool. I think that one's really fucking
I've seen that one. I've seen, obviously I've been absorbed.
Yeah, you've seen what Nosferatu looks like
through pop culture, but I don't know if I've actually sat down and watched it. Thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter @Sound Crusaders or Instagram and TikTok @Soundscape Crusaders.